And I was like added, and she's also added. And I'm like, she's gonna fall, and then finally my body gives up and I fall. It's been 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And this girl is still at it.
Going.
I think she went on for like 6 to 7 minutes. 7 minutes, I think. She went on for 7 minutes. And that was like...
So I feel like I should not have focused so much on how many clothes or how many outfits I need to. I could have just borrowed and maybe sourced.
Yeah.
And like
beg, borrow, steal.
Not steal.
Not steal, source.
Yeah.
Beg, borrow, source.
That's right. Beg, borrow and source.
Right. So you know what, like when I was coming to the pageant, I felt like my hair was not long enough. Because see, at the end of the day, it is a beauty pageant, right? It is not like the most intelligent person contest. Myth busted.
Busted.
Oh.
Yes. Okay.
She's gonna get me cancelled.
Yeah, okay, sorry. चलो ठीक आ रहा है, तीनों started है, ये started है ना?
Nice. मेरा mic on है?
Now I'm also getting paranoid.
I guess now we're both paranoid.
That's so true, dude.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Long Lost Sisters Pod. All right. So this is our episode where we're going to talk about pageants. And
like we said, that we are going to have an episode on pageants. So
yeah,
let's go deep into it.
Yes, let's really dive into our journey and even how we got there.
Yes.
Which reminds me, I don't think I have ever asked you, like, what was really your inspiration? I'm sure you must have answered those questions in the pageant, but I don't think I have never asked you what was your inspiration or how did you even had that dream?
Yeah, I think, we never ended up speaking about it. So I think it wasn't really my dream in the start. It was my mom's dream first. So I think I was about 3 years old when she made me dress up as Miss World with a sash and the crown and my little swimsuit. And in 2000, Priyanka Chopra had won. So it was my mom who really wanted me to go into Miss India. So all throughout, she made me watch so many of those pageants, and I kept watching. And naturally, it ended up becoming my dream too, because I kept watching it. I kept looking at Priyanka Chopra, and I always felt that, I also want to be at that position and at that stage in life where if she can inspire me when I'm at this age, I would want to be that one day so I can inspire young girls like she did. So it ended up becoming my dream. But when you grow up in school, in college, you start forgetting that dream. Because casually तो बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि यार we want to be this, we want to be that. There are so many of my cousins, जैसे my parents and all, they all compare कि यार ये तो अमिताभ बच्चन लगता है, ये तो शाहरुख खान लगता है, but you don't expect कि वो सच में वैसे बन जाएंगे. You never know. But
maybe someone coming from your family.
Actually, you never know. But so you don't ever expect that, because they're saying so ye sach ho jayega. So you forget that dream. And cut to in college, I remember ki college mein there used to be so many of these campus princess and Miss Diva auditions and all of that happening. But I don't know why it never came to my mind during college. I always thought कि नहीं खत्म करनी graduation, उसके बाद भी I didn't think that I would ever apply because I thought यार बचपन में बोला है, it's just a dream. And during that time, my mother actually had brain tumor, and because she had her surgery going on, it was successful, things were fine, but she was in the ICU for a little bit of time. And during that time, she had lost the ability to speak for a brief duration. So she used to scribble on a piece of paper every day. And I remember we used to keep going to her and checking what she's writing, what she's trying to explain. And I remember one day when she was scribbling, you couldn't understand most of it, but you could make out a few words. So she had scribbled Miss India and then Shreya. And
wow.
I went like, she is in this state. Still thinking about what should I do next after college. She really wanted me to be a Miss India. She really did. So seeing that drive and that passion in her, in that situation also, I was like, dude, you know what? Let me just go ahead and apply it this time. Let me just see.
Right.
What's the worst that could happen?
And that is such a beautiful thing because, you're not just coming there for yourself, but you're also coming there for your mom, who is probably like only able to scribble right now, but she's still thinking about you there,
Yeah.
And it is like such a, I mean, such a beautiful thing that you've said here. And I didn't even know, like, it was so deep. And I knew that your mom always wanted you to be, but like, I didn't know it was so deep and meaningful. And
I think our moms always do that. I think, it was, So it was kudos to her only that she got this kira into my head, and then I wanted to be on that stage.
Yeah.
And I remember you also sharing that.
Yeah, I think like in the late 1990s to the early 2000s, there were a lot of pageant winners from India, world and universe. So I think at the time, and we had just been born around that time, right? And so I think our foundation of how we see as a successful woman, or like a woman who can make a difference, has always been that. Like our standards have always been that, right? And we've always like kind of looked up to those amazing women, right? Who have always inspired us. And I think even like you said, your mom had already pictured you like that, right? And I think I have a similar anecdote. I mean, a similar story where I remember it was a fancy dress competition, probably at school or something, and my mom had dressed me up as Miss World, okay? And because my mom was a huge Aishwarya Rai fan, right? And she has dressed me up as Miss World, and I've gone on the stage. I'm like, hi, my name is Sonal Sharma, and I am Miss Universe. And my mom's like, God, like, what's wrong with me? But like, it was still cute.
Fine,
it was still cute. And so I think we all had those, dreams, because they were so incredible. And there were so many winners at the time that they had set those standards for us already. So we always looked up to them. And I think even for me, Priyanka Chopra was such an inspiration. Also, one more reason for that was because she came from an army background.
That's
we
true.
could relate even more.
That is true.
Exactly. Even I remember, even for my state level answer when I had given, they had asked me this question: who was your inspiration? And my answer was exactly Priyanka Chopra.
Dude, she is an inspiration.
She really is, and like she still is. I mean, it's not like just in the early 2000s. She's still
at it.
So that's I mean, that's probably what we also want to do with our, this platform that we had or 100%. We have, and
make our own path and journey.
But I'm sure,
but kudos to our moms, for sure.
Kudos to, yes. Thanks, mom. They also made us meet, so,
That's true. That's true.
So,
thank you, mom.
Thank you, mom.
Shout out to moms.
Shout out to moms. But, like, I want to know, there are all these really nice stories about, success stories and stuff. When you felt like, oh, people don't believe in me, or something like that, like, did you ever have a bad, like...
100%. So, I mean, yes, my journey does seem smooth sailing, that I got into Miss India in my first go and then ended up winning the Miss United Continents. But I think, Miss Femina Miss India United Continents, not Miss United Continents.
Wait, Femina Miss India United Continents.
But actually, before that, what happened was, when I decided after college, that, okay, let me give it a try, I did. Colleges used to have those campus princess auditions, wherein when you go into campus princess, the winner will get a straight entry to one of the state pageants or something like that. Like they will get trained or something of that sort. I don't remember exactly. So I did apply to Campus Princess twice in two different colleges. I went for two different fests. I applied twice, and both times I got rejected.
Oh my God, I didn't know the story.
So I reached top 5 each time. And I was like, dude, I do feel like I have it in me. I can see it. But I'm not understanding, why are they not selecting me as one of the winners anytime, like even in like top 3. So I didn't understand. So there were a lot of girls after, the pageant. I would see everybody would go for a feedback to the ones who were judging, and one of the Campus Princess organizers or mentor. So I also went naturally, like, पूछ ही लेते कि क्या ऐसा, what's wrong, like, or if there's something I can work on.
You need that feedback.
100%. So I went and I asked, and then I remember that he straight away said that, oh yeah, I think you should not apply this year for Miss India. You should wait one more year, and you need a lot of grooming. I don't think this year it's possible for you.
Wow.
And
not even like why.
So it was very I didn't understand that, I've always seen for pageants, everybody does give you the hope that it will happen. Okay, you can work on this or work on that. But that really gave me like a huge shock, and like it just shook me that somebody is able to tell me no straight away when it is such a subjective field, and like it's a beauty pageant, it's so like subjective, and it's always depends.
Beauty is different for different people. Yeah.
So how can somebody just say no directly? I know it's very easy for me to say this right now, but that day after the pageant, I mean, while going back home in my auto, I couldn't stop crying.
My God. And that is so not you. Like you're not a...
I don't cry.
Yeah.
And now I still express a lot more in life, but at that time, I remember 5-6 years ago, I never used to cry. I never used to cry at home also. Like my parents also wouldn't see me cry as much. I always used to be like put together, always like composed and calm. And I remember calling up my dad, and like obviously I had to tell him how it went. And then while telling him, I started crying. I couldn't stop, and I was like, dude, Shreya, please stop crying. Please stop crying. That time I was thinking that please stop crying. But then I remember I remember Papa telling me that he's like, why are you listening to someone else?
Yeah.
Why are you listening to someone else? You want to go this year. I feel you can do it. If you have made up your mind, you have to go this year. Do not think of what somebody else has told you. You think you can do it, you have to go this year. And that's what I did. And
that's so incredible, because you chose to not listen to the bad remark that you got, or like a negative thing that you got, but instead you knew that I know who to trust, and like I know this person my father believes in me, so I will listen to that instead of feeling all those miserable thoughts about the person who does not believe in me.
Correct.
And that is it is a skill, I think, when you can differentiate between it and be like, okay, this happened to me, I grieved it, but now I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to take my father's motivation. I'm going to go ahead with that.
I think at that age, it's so much more important, because you're so young, and it's so easy to get shaken up and then believe that somebody's demotivated you, and then you just go into that shell.
Right.
But you recognize that, no, okay, I think it's important that you have somebody who believes in you, and to know that who believes in you.
Absolutely.
Everybody has that. I think parents, family, friends.
Best, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, auntie, uncle, cousins, anyone. I'm sure there must be someone who believes in you.
Who believes in you.
Or if you believe in yourself. If not, then you believe in yourself.
100%. So after that, thankfully, I did go for the pageant, and it did work out for me. But I did do a coaching before that. Right. So I did Coco Berry, which of course you also did. And I remember you telling me recently that I did not know that you got scouted before that in
Actually,
college.
I had also forgotten about it. When we started talking about, our
podcast
and our pageant episode and stuff, that's when it came back to me that when I was in my first year of college, Miss India, or maybe it was Campus Princess, I don't remember clearly, but there was something like this, and it was Miss India, I know that for a fact, that they had come to again have a small little competition or something in that college, right? In our college. And I had participated, but I don't know what were the results. I don't really kind of remember it. Or maybe it was just a few rounds happening or something like that. And I remember that I was not ready for it, but I still participated. Even if they picked me or whatever, I still participated. And I was like, that means that thing was always there. Even then it was there, but I knew I wasn't ready for it. And I don't think I was even ready for it until college got over, because I think in our heads it was more okay, you gotta finish college first and stuff. Like that, as you said.
Definitely, because we have that mentality ki padhai puri khatam karo, fir kuch aur
I think it just came from how our parents brought us up in terms of the values. That's how it was for us from our families, right? So that happened, and then I think after that they had asked me to come to the office and have a chat about taking Miss India seriously and stuff. But I think, again, like I said, I don't think I was ready at the time, so I did go to the...
It had to happen when it had to happen.
It had to happen when it had to happen. So so it took a few steps, but then I was I was ready when I was ready, and then that's when I went, and I of course went for the Coco Berry.
I think you naturally would have thought of it when I was staying at your place to do Coco Berry coaching in 2018. You would have thought that, I did get a call
Yeah,
earlier.
and like I like so many years I didn't like I completely forgotten about it, but now like I can't
like you started
remember.
working.
Yeah, I had
And
started
then-
working as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was another like thing altogether. I had started working. I had put on a lot of weight. We discussed that earlier also. Shreya loves
Let's
to
talk about
Shreya
it.
just loves to talk about how I went from fat to fit.
Dude, it's an incredible story. I feel like there's so many people who
Yeah.
want to know how did you do that.
And
I
it
can't lose
happened-
3 kg. So how did you manage that much?
Because there was a lot of extra weight. So we had, and I had to do it in 3 months because I did my pageant coaching, and then I had 3 months to prepare for the pageant. And I think that's how it happens. Like, like there is a prep that goes into it. It's not just like you are beautiful, you get up and go and you win it. It doesn't happen like that. You have to go through like whatever you think needs to be either fixed or or like worked on.
Yeah.
So you got to do that, right?
Yeah.
And
you want to present yourself in the best way possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if, for example, I had to lose a bit of weight,
Yeah.
and I had to, also work on the other aspects. That's why I went to the coaching
Cocoberry.
as well.
Cocoberry did teach us all of those. I feel like it was very important for us to get that pageant coaching,
Right.
because they did tell us the basics, which at that time in 2018, if you think about it, we didn't know any of it.
Yeah.
What
Who
we
does?
have seen is what
Yeah.
happens on the stage on the finale night. But nobody
Right.
told us about the 40 days before that, the state pageant before that, the auditions before that, and what all goes behind it.
It's a rigorous process.
Yes.
It's not just like, oh, you get direct entry in your top 30. No. There are many, many more levels to it before it gets there.
That's true.
So yeah, I think that really helped me because, it, apart from obviously working on what questions you should prepare for, and not just questions, like there is going to be a question answer thing, so you got to prepare for that. The walk, the presence, that's also about, it's at the end of the day, it is a beauty contest, right? Like you have to think about like the presence and how you look and how you walk, because one entry should be able to like tell them that, okay, seal the deal. Yeah. So I mean, there are all these things, and of course,
about this rigorous process, I do feel like we should talk about how I didn't even know that there were so many girls who apply for it. I mean, obviously we knew about it, but to see it in person, I remember me applying. I went from Bihar. So in the first round, there were about 100 odd girls just for the first set of auditions in one state. So there were 3 girls picked from those 100 girls. And I know that every single state had that. I mean, Haryana also.
I think about the same, or probably 150 or something. I'm not sure, but something.
So imagine every single state having that many girls who've applied, and that application also has been like seen through, that something about your application isn't right, so then you're not selected. So those 100 girls are selected. After that, then that whole audition, we had a question answer, we had an introduction round, we had a ramp walk round, and to present ourselves in the best way possible, to do our hair, makeup, and do a nice ramp walk. So I think the coaching really helped with that.
Yeah, I think more than that, it just put you in that mindset, because I remember in one of the sessions we were doing like a wall squat, and it was like a competition, right? It was like whoever does it for the longest, whoever stays on the longest, is gonna win this. Because there used to be a mini pageant like competition even in the coaching, right? So there was a top 3 from that as well. So it put you in that competitive mindset that, hey, listen, this is not going to be a cakewalk. Okay, so you have to be ready for it. You have to be. It could be, and there were a lot of physically, mentally, you have to be ready for it. Of course, we had a lot of we had a sports day as well. Where we did a lot of physical challenges, but the whole journey was also mentally a bit straining, because 100%. Of course you're away from your family, the hours are long.
Like I feel that we got a taste of it in this 7-day pageant only that we went for. Like every zone had a small pageant. I had no idea about this. We went to Calcutta. All the East Zone states were there. Jharkhand, Bihar, all of those were there. West Bengal, and there are 3 girls from each state. Then the whole 1 week pageant is going on, wherein you have subcontest, the talent round, and all of that. And then 1 girl is crowned from each state.
Right.
And then those girls go for the 30.
It is a mini pageant, even there.
It is a mini pageant.
So at the time, I think it was still like a newer concept. The whole states, the North Zone, East Zone, West Zone.
I think
South Zone was still a newer concept. I mean, probably.
I think zone-wise, yeah.
So, we didn't really have that much knowledge on it. So I think it was the right thing to do to go through a pageant coaching first
correct.
and then
Yeah.
go for it. Of course, like people do it without it as well. I remember Mansi Takshak was not with any pageant coaching.
There were many
classes,
girls
so there were many girls who didn't do it.
Yeah.
But I felt like it did prepare me for myself, at least.
100%.
Mentally, I was like better prepared.
Like I still knew what's going on, but 100%. I also did my research. I checked YouTube. I checked what happened in the past. I've checked all the previous winners and their journey, but a lot of it wasn't out there.
Right.
And I remember after that 1 week pageant, then going to the 40-day pageant.
Right.
Then going to our FBV Colors
Femina Miss India 2019. Oh my God, I love saying it together, and that's what we used to do as well.
All of us used to say it together.
Yeah,
all the time.
That was a thing back then. So yeah, I mean, that's, first of all, I say it every time I talk about our pageant, and I will say it again, that we had such a lovely journey because all the girls that were there, they were amazing, and we made some real good friends there. And like, we actually shared such beautiful relationships with everyone. Because, we were like traveling for like our brand shoots and stuff like that.
We went to so many cities. We went to Alibag, went to Delhi. I remember we went to someplace near Delhi. We traveled by bus and all of that for a photo shoot. So we traveled so much together. We've lived so much. It felt like cousins after a point. They were sleeping in the same bed and I don't know what not. So it became like a small family.
Right.
Thanks to our batch, which was really nice, which made it so nice and happy and lively and playful. Most of us are still in touch.
Right.
Yeah.
And but saying that, I also want to mention that, although it was lovely, but it wasn't easy, because it is, at the end of the day, it is still a pageant.
Yeah.
It is still a competition. So there are a lot of things that are happening. There were crazy hours. We were waking up at 5 a.m., going to bed, at like 12:01 sometimes.
I remember it became very, very hectic for you near the subcontest night, because you were in the talent round. You won the talent subcontest. So I remember that it became so hectic because you would practice, and I think you just wake up in like 4 hours or something for the next session.
Yeah.
So imagine the 40 days being packed.
And that is the reason why, I mean, a lot of us were also falling sick by the end of the pageant.
Yes.
And it was because, it is mentally straining. It is physically straining because you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
Although it's a beauty pageant, but it's not like easy. You know what I mean? It does take a lot of effort, and also you have to be presentable. You have to do all of the sessions that we have to do. You also have to travel, do the shoots. So there are a lot of
and you don't want to skip anything because you are there to showcase yourself. So you want to be on point at every single thing that you do.
We've never acknowledged it, but at that time we were living our dreams.
We were,
weren't we?
We were.
Like, we don't acknowledge it because you're in that rush of like in a pageant.
Yeah.
But we were living our dreams because I'm sure we would have looked up to some of the previous winners or batches, and we would have like, oh, I wish I was in it. We were.
I know. In that moment when you're so tied up with everything, and you don't really sit and think that this is what I had been dreaming for.
Yeah. So, but it's surreal to talk about it now.
Definitely is.
So lucky to have someone to talk about it with.
Thank you.
Now we're getting soppy.
Like we always do,
I feel. Yeah. I think that is like our thing.
So I actually wanted to talk about the pageant in all. Like, don't you think that we all had an image of how a pageant would be like?
Like, the pageant is not, it takes a lot from you, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it gives you a lot, 100%. But it also takes a lot because a lot goes into it. That's why. So I remember, like, I think there was this one girl who would probably put on slightly bit of weight, or maybe she carried a little bit weight and came into the pageant. But, like, she was getting so conscious. And I'm talking about just like a couple of, maybe a kg. Maybe a kg or 2 kgs, right?
Yeah.
And she felt like, she was seeming a bit bigger, and she felt like maybe she was not looking like the other girls.
Yeah.
And that really like took a toll on her as well.
Yeah.
So I think these things also happen.
I think it does happen. Because I do remember, I don't know if you're talking about the same girl, but I do remember that there was this one moment wherein, where we've had our designer fittings, and after that we have to do a refitting. And when I think somebody had an issue of the zip not going up completely, and then the stylist saying, okay, fine, we'll have to, open it up or something like that. And I do remember her, like, she feeling that, oh my gosh, she has gained so much weight, which it must be really slight. But in that moment, you think that you are the only one because of whom,
things are being changed.
It has to be customized, it has to be changed, and none of the other girls put on any weight. So you put that pressure on yourself, and then you start criticizing yourself, and then you start getting conscious, and all of that actually just really messes up with your head and your emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's not just us who are doing it. I think it's just the beauty standards that were set. And no one really went against it. So,
you always feel like you see somebody who's better than you over there.
Right.
And everybody feels that.
Everyone feels that. And because you always feel like, you always think of all the things that you're missing instead of the things that you have.
Exactly.
Because, so we have to mention that, because of course it is a wonderful journey. It was a wonderful journey for us, but there were challenges. 100%. It's not like it was all smooth sailing, pretty girls having fun. It's not like that.
It can't be like that, because I feel like there's so much pressure on you being an 18, 19-year-old. There's so much pressure on you to be your best version, and to see 30 girls being their best versions in front of you, that puts up so much pressure on you. You try to be Sushmita or Lara or Priyanka, but then in that process, you start forgetting that you need to show who you truly are. And it's easy to get, have a blurry vision, and it's easy to forget who you are, but I think it's just the environment that creates that pressure. It's not anybody else creating that pressure. It's the environment, it's the competition, it's the rush that creates that pressure. It's the rush to prove yourself, to prove that you're the best.
We were always in a hurry.
That's true.
I remember we would always be rushing for our cars. We would always be rushing for our shows.
Everybody's running.
There are like 30 girls to manage. It's not an easy task,
I swear.
But it was as much fun as well.
It was I feel like when you have that rush, and when you're doing something like that, which is, you see the passion in every single person, it becomes fun. It is competitive. It is competitive, but it is a lot of fun. Now that we think about it, it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I actually have a story. So I remember going into the pageant, and this happened with me, that naturally, because you're going 40 days, they send you a full list that, we're going to do these many activities. We're going to travel for these many days. So you need to pack your bags accordingly. And that meant have 5 party looks, have 5 picnic looks, have 5 this looks, that look. And then you start thinking that 1 minute, we're going to be on camera. We can't repeat our clothes. We can't do this. We need to have that many clothes. We need to have that many looks and outfits, because they send you a full list of the events and different kind of outfits.
पता नहीं ये बिना बोला हुआ rule कहाँ से आया है कि we can't repeat our clothes.
I think it's a Delhi thing.
I think it is a normal world. Like we've just started thinking that we can't repeat our looks.
I think it's a fashion girl and Delhi thing that I don't know, somehow we feel like we can't repeat. And in Miss India तो और भी लग रहा था.
Yeah, because we think, oh my God, we're in Miss India now. How can we repeat?
Like how can we wear the same clothes? So naturally, I felt all the girls started. I remember I ended up spending a lot of my dad's money on like clothes, and then I felt guilty at the same time. But then I was like, what do? I want to present myself in the best way, and they also wanted me to do that. I did borrow a lot, but when we reached, I remember my first roommate that I had was Miss India Maharashtra, Vaishnavi.
Right.
And when we opened our suitcase just to adjust, and I see that she was taking out a lot of packets of clothes. So I asked her, why do you have your clothes in your packets? Or something like that. And then she said that, I did source a few outfits, and that's when
smart.
I was like, dude, I had no idea that you could source outfits from brands and designers. We had no idea about this. So I would 100%
she was already like working,
that's
and
also true.
And she already had these connections.
Yeah.
But I feel not just that. Of course, she was smart enough to do that. But when you're representing your state, you can always check with the local like designers, right? Or the state level designers.
Because you're going for a national pageant. All the designers would want to dress you in their garment. They would give it to you for free to wear it, promote it, and give it back to them. We did not have that idea.
If not 50 sets, you can at least get 5 sets.
Exactly. And
anything helps.
In the pageant also, we used to borrow so much from each other. So I feel like I should not have focused so much on how many clothes or how many outfits I need to. I could have just borrowed and maybe sourced and like
beg, borrow, steal.
Not steal.
Source. Beg, borrow, source.
That's right. Beg, borrow, and source.
Right. So that is a good rule to have for people who don't know like what to do.
Yeah, don't spend too much money.
Don't spend too much money because at the end of the day, it's you who they want to look at, and not the clothes.
Yeah, it's your personality they want to see. It's okay if you repeat a garment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you know what? Like when I was coming to the pageant, I felt like my hair was not long enough. Because see, at the end of the day, it is a beauty pageant, right? It is not like the most intelligent person contest. I mean, it's a beauty pageant. You have to look pretty.
You have to look presentable,
and you should be able to, speak for yourself. And
there are a certain amount of beauty standards that are set, and you want to match that for sure.
Yeah.
To present yourself in the best way.
That's what we had in our minds as well. And I think anybody entering would have it.
Yeah.
Because you are also looking at the winners previously, so you're already kind of like putting yourself in their shoes. So like, I thought like maybe I need to have this like nice voluminous hair and everything. So I did get like a pair of extensions, and I got the pageant, which is fine. People do get it, but of course, like they used to have extensions of their own because everyone had to get like extensions because those like that kind of hair.
Yeah, myth busted that when you see those voluminous curls,
those are extensions.
Those are extensions.
And I took my extensions and I made my dad pay for my extensions, obviously. And I have lost them. And I'm like, during the pageant, of course, like it's gotten mixed up somewhere and I've lost
the amount of things that you've lost in life.
Yes, in life. I have. But you know what? Like, I feel even though I've lost a lot of things generally, like before the pageant, I think just having that routine changed something in me, just being responsible for myself. So that was one really good thing that came out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was.
I wanted to add to that about when you said about hair. I did something like that. I remember that when I was coaching and when I was about to go, I used to have one overlapping in the teeth. And a lot of people, I did my research. I saw nobody has that. None of the ex-winners have like crooked teeth or like overlapping teeth. And I don't think I should present myself like that. So I checked and I thought, okay, fine, I'll get my braces done. But then I realized it'll take 1 full year. So then I had to get my first teeth, like a veneer on my one teeth to get it fixed. And then after doing that, I did that for the pageant. I did that immediately. And then after winning, when I checked with them and I asked them that, okay, do you know what? I got this fixed. So they're like, you didn't really have to do that. Like you could have told us. But even though they said that, we don't know because you don't want to present yourself lesser in any way. So in our minds, I mean, I at the moment did feel that, I want to showcase myself in the best way possible. So if there is one thing that I feel that could, hold me back, let me just fix it. And that's what we do. We always do that.
And you know what? You want to be woke and you want to tell the world, don't change yourself at all, this and that. But when you're coming from that competitive mindset and when you're putting yourself out there, you want to be your best.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like a lot of people probably can't do it or something like that. But I feel like if you can, then why shouldn't you?
मैंने भी जुगाड़ निकाला था. I was like, let me find, the cheapest place, cheapest dentist, or what, like the easiest fix. Let's not do too much work. Let's just say the easiest fix, thoda sa kuch kar dete. So it's fine.
Anything,
and thankfully it wasn't like all over the place. It was just one overlap, which was fine. Thank God it was not much.
Yeah.
But actually now that I think about it, what if I just went like that? You never know. Like it could have worked out.
Yeah.
But you don't.
You never know.
You never know. But you as a person are always like, yeah, I need to be perfect. I need to be proper. I need to already prepare for everything. But sometimes it's okay if some things you don't also.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure like there are certain things that if you don't probably add to you because there are so many models in the world who have a teeth gap and it works.
Yeah.
It looks really nice.
love Dakota Johnson with her gap. Like,
and she does, yeah.
So maybe that becomes a thing.
Yeah.
You never know. So I think...
But you know what, like...
It's also subjective.
Yes. And also like this is our mindset we're talking about. That's what we did.
That's what we did.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
There was another thing that, I thought plays a huge part in the whole Miss India pageant. And then later on world as well. But I was not sure how it worked. Like, I knew it had to have a cause.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, like, they didn't help you with it. See, I thought maybe you get to the pageant and they help you with the cause. Of course, I was doing a lot of stuff before that.
Yeah.
With, like, animals, like stray animals getting, like, medical, assistance and planting trees and Also like feeding the unfed, basically feeding the poor. So I was doing all this with different organizations, but I felt like maybe, you needed like one cause to kind of consolidate the day. Although I did get into the top 10.
Yeah.
Because
I do remember that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm assuming that is what it is. You probably need that one cause that kind of supports your sort of argument throughout the pageant.
I do feel that you're right. I feel like, yeah, you can obviously do support a lot of things, but one cause needs to be really strong. Like you need to have done work at length and breadth on that cause. And I think that cause is what brings you closer to even winning the Beauty with a Purpose subcontest and also closer towards winning the pageant. I think does play a little bit of a role. My cause for sure, like I was also in top 10 for Beauty with a Purpose. My cause was...
No, I was in top 10. No, I was in top 10.
Both of us were.
Both of us were.
Both of us were.
Sorry to interrupt you.
That's absolutely fine. So I remember my cause being about spreading awareness of neurological disorders. So that was really close to my heart and I worked really hard on that. But there were very different causes also. And why cause is so important is because the Miss India winner goes for Miss World. And the Miss World organization is all about cause and working for people to spread awareness and raise funds for children and helping out people. So because that's their purpose, Miss India also wants all the girls to have that purpose because that adds character. That adds value to your personality. That just show that, okay, you are passionate about something. You being passionate about poor people or feeding animals, stray animals. So I feel like it does add character and value. And that's why cause definitely is important in Miss India. And like you said, that we thought that they would help us out with it. But you probably had to have something to show that character and personality of yourself, for sure.
Right.
Now, since we're talking about our myths and what we thought, the fact that we thought that there would be a lot of training going on.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I remember this. We thought there was going to be all this rigorous training that would be put into. We didn't have that. We did have a lot of sessions, though. We did have a lot of skin sessions and dental sessions. If you remember.
Gym, body,
dance, ramp walk. Ramp walk were like proper sessions, like proper training for ramp walk.
Ramp walk was a subcontest also, so that's why we got training for that. And like we did it on subcontest night and on the finale night. And apart from that, I do remember that we had grooming sessions only of makeup and like we were just told about all of those. We met professionals in that field, dermats and skin and dental and all of that. But so we thought that we were going to be taught about every single thing, but that wasn't really the case.
It happened later on. Once the 3 winners were chosen, they were given the right training to kind of pursue their international pageants.
Individual trainings for their pageant particularly. But that made sense, I feel, in some way.
Because I feel, back in the day, as I remember, the girls were trained in everything, even during the pageant. If you go back and watch those late 1990s and early 2000s pageants, they were like 2 months long, I think. It used to be longer, and all the girls were trained in everything. So, of course, like, times are different. People are also more, people know more, know better. So, there were not as many training sessions, but there were definitely sessions.
Grooming sessions. We were brushed up upon it. We did understand. We could easily reach out to them and ask our questions if we wanted to. Of course, for sure, we could do that.
Right.
And along with that, a lot of training happened. I feel like we learned a lot in the photo shoots. And like, I really had a lot of fun whenever we had those photo shoots. And whenever we had those designers and those fittings.
I mean, like, we were like really young, and of course we just started off with the pageant, and we would be wearing all of these amazing designers like Falguni Shane Peacock and Raw Mango. We did for our Dances of India. So those were some
Nikita Tandon for the gowns of subcontest.
Absolutely. So those were some amazing designers and times for us, because that was like one of like the most fun parts, like getting into like these really pretty clothes. And I mean, it is a beauty pageant, guys. We were happy being in pretty clothes.
100%. I mean, at that time, if you think about it, in 2019 or something, I never did. I never saw anyone in my family or anyone close also be in such beautiful designer outfits, like such embellished designer gowns. Like I've never seen anyone, and to wear that and look the way that we did look. We looked stunning. The makeup and hair that they did. I mean, who wouldn't want to be there? That was a dream that we were living.
Right. So, and there's a myth that you need to bust here that we don't get to keep those clothes.
Oh yes, we don't get to keep the clothes.
We don't get to keep the clothes.
I remember all my cousins asking me after I won, Shreya, आपको वो green lehenga रखने को मिला क्या? I'm like, nahi guys, like no.
There are like multiple lakhs of money goes into it.
We just wear it and that's it. We don't get to keep any of the clothes.
That would have been, that would have been better than winning the pageant, I think.
No.
Yes. Just get to keep all those
now
clothes.
Actually staying in Mumbai, I feel that would have been worse because you don't have space to keep that many clothes.
I mean, you can keep half of them in Delhi and half of them in Mumbai.
We'll talk about that in our next episode.
I have a walk-in wardrobe. I could have kept it there. I have a walk-in wardrobe room.
I'll definitely buy the lehenga one day and give it to you to keep it in your walk-in
I'm
wardrobe.
waiting for you to buy the lehenga. I'm waiting for it.
We will.
We will.
Yes. So that for sure. Oh, another myth that I'm going to bust for you guys is that we do get to keep the crown.
Yes.
So, everybody used to ask me. So, we keep the crown and we give the next girl a new crown. We don't give our crown, thank God.
Yeah.
But in the international pageants, there are some pageants that you do give that crown and you are given a replica of it.
Right.
So, on some pageants and everything. So,
myth busted.
Oh, yes.
There's another thing that I did not know about, and which was that before we continued into our pageant from state to maybe the main, not sure for everyone, right? So maybe the main, we all had to sign these contracts.
Yes.
Right? And this was with the talent agency. So that was something, like expectations that we didn't know about but happened. Yeah. So that was also but I think that was good for us because we got a lot of opportunities 100%. After that. Yeah. After the pageant. Yeah. So that is something.
I do remember that during the subcontest, they told you that, okay, if you want to go ahead with the pageant, you need to sign this contract.
Yeah.
And I was like, अब कौन पढ़ेगा यार मतलब ठीक है अब करना ही है तो let's just sign it. But I think but it's fine. I mean, at that time it was fine too.
And I remember in my zone, the north zone, when the pageants were happening, the state level before the winners were crowned.
Yeah.
There were 3 of each.
The state,
right? And I remember in my zone, the north zone, there was this one girl from another state, not my state, who did not sign the contract because she did not sign the contract because she was studying to be a lawyer, and she's like, I'm not signing it. And she didn't, and she also didn't win, so I don't know what do we get out of it, but that happened. I've been talking about I keep mentioning that mentally you have to be prepared, and you have to be ready for it. But I think we also had to be physically prepared for it because we did have a sports day.
Dude,
remember?
We had an intense day.
We had how you have annual days and sports days. We had a sports day, and we were playing badminton, we were swimming, we were doing gym sessions, and literally 80 or 90% of the girls in the pageant probably had never seen the face of a gym at the time, because you have to remember,
I never did.
I mean I did. I used to work out because I went from fat to
yes, you would have seen every equipment.
So I had actually seen all the equipment. So so all of these things, I mean, because you also have to understand people were in the age bracket of 18 to probably
25, 26 at the time. Now the age definitely has increased and changed for different things, but
at the time mostly were in the more concentrated were in 18, 19, 20 age group. So obviously girls have not seen any gyms and stuff, so all of that was happening. So some things were really funny, but I remember we did the last thing that we had to do to finish off the sports day round and make one person win. I had qualified until the second spot, right? For the plank thing, there was this plank that we had to do, and all of us were doing these planks, and everyone's 1 minute, 10, 30 seconds, someone's fallen, 1 minute, someone's fallen, 2, 3 minutes, I have reached 5 minutes. I was planking for 5 minutes. That was I'm what am I was very impressed with myself. What am I doing? It's crazy. So I done like 5 minutes, and with me was this other
Sangdoma
yes. Tamang, okay, and she was Miss Sikkim, and I was like added, and she's also added. And I'm like, she's gonna fall, and then finally my like body gives up and I fall. It's been 5 minutes,
yeah,
and this girl is still at it.
Going.
I think she went on for like 6 to 7 minutes. 7 minutes, I think she went on for 7 minutes, and that was like
उस रात हम सबने बैठ के पैर दबाया उसका खाने गिराया उसका कि खा ले.
And she was like a very like young girl. She was like probably 19 as well, and we were like that is some strength.
Like ये है हमारी.
I know, and I was like, who can do that? That was one crazy like physical activity story that I remember.
So I remember, since it was a competition, and we all, like, everybody asked me this question, and that's why I wanted to discuss about this. That they asked me that, were you starving during the pageant, or do you still starve? How do you maintain your weight? And during the pageant, how much did you eat?
Right.
So I don't remember eating less or anything, because I anyway was very skinny. So I was trying to eat more. But I do know that there were so many girls who were keeping a check on it. Like, every girl was trying to measure and see how much they're eating. I know we say that we used to eat freely and easily, but we could feel that, in the team, the organizers, you could feel that everybody's just keeping an eye on you in some way.
Yeah. Because see, you're in a competition, right? You're in a competition, and there are eyes on you always.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, people are taking a note of it. If you're coming on time, people are taking a note of it. If you are being, if you're not like prim and proper, people are taking a note of it. I know we say like you have to be yourself and stuff, but you also have to eventually represent internationally. So you have to also represent the country or the state, right? So all of that was equally important, and there were always like eyes on you. And
you're right that how, like, when they used to look at us, they would always see that who is that one delegate who they think can represent India. If you think of it from that angle, that we, that's why we had to be on time. That's why we had to always be prim and proper and perfect and present ourselves in the best way possible, because we knew that there were eyes on us. We always had to be on our toes, because we are being checked at every minute. Even if they weren't seeing, but we always were so alert about it that we're going to be scrutinized, or they're going to think.
So one more example of someone who was not trying to be prim and proper per se, but she was always like, she was still very how do I say that? Very
put together?
Put together. Yes, very put together, and someone who you would notice was Vaishnavi. Miss Maharashtra. She was very much herself, She was like, I like to do this, I will do this. But it never looked like she was doing anything out of place. So, we talk about being prim and proper. Not everyone is like that, right? But again, Vaishnavi was so herself, and she was still always so put together. Put together as in like, she was doing what she liked to do, and she made it look
Although
easy.
I do remember that she would always get late to come, and I would wake her up.
Yeah, she would.
But she was very casual about it. She was like, okay, fine, I am getting late.
She was not stressed.
She was never stressed.
And even if she was, she took it like in her stride, and like, we'll figure it out.
Chill girl. She was a chill girl.
Yeah, she's a chill girl.
Yeah, she's a chill girl. But I feel like the put together and prim and proper thing that we have is also a lot to do with our defense background.
Yeah.
It is a lot to do with our defense background, because of which, I think, because we've seen our moms be a certain way, and we've seen that attitude in them.
What attitude are you talking about?
Of I don't know, classy women.
Yeah, wow. What are you trying to say? Okay. She's gonna get me cancelled.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So I feel like us being prim and proper comes from
that whole discipline army background. Like, you're gonna be on time. You're gonna be disciplined.
I mean, we are given table manners when we're just like, 8-9 years old. We know how to eat with a fork and knife at that age. So you know how to conduct yourself. You've always seen your parents conduct themselves in a social setting like that. So maybe that's how, you learn from it. So showing ourselves and conducting and presenting ourselves in such a competition was kind of a little easier for us.
Yeah, probably in a known area.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't as scary as it could have been for a lot of girls. So I do thank my defense background.
Yeah, defense background definitely, I think, played a part in all of this.
100%.
that being said, back in 2019, Miss India pageant was, for us, we felt like was the only thing we wanted to do, right? And for us was the only way to kind of, that was our dream. But I think now it is changed a little bit. Now for like people who are probably 18, 19, 20, 21 right now, or girls, they probably want to become influencers and, try to get that reach. See, we were also there for, like you said, I also want to influence people, and I also want to be that kind of right influence for, younger women, younger women, or girls. I think now it's more like there's like a shared stage where pageants are, of course, still relevant, and also the influencing is. And I think they also sometimes come together. And a lot of influencers are pageant girls, and that's pretty great as well.
I feel like pageants, obviously, beauty pageant, obviously, is a place where you're going to inspire people. Like you want to be in pageants and have that voice so that you can inspire other people. And I feel after our batch was probably the last batch before COVID.
Yes.
The last batch before the social media boom happened in India. And it was after 2019 and 2020, because of social media, everybody could get famous and could put their voice out there because they were at home recording themselves in
right
days, and it started getting viral.
Yeah.
So now I feel like even when I'm judging these, like
do you see any difference like in the contestants before and after?
In like 2021, 2022, when I judged 1 or 2 years, I also saw that, earlier when we were applying, we didn't really have sort of our resume on Instagram.
Yeah.
We didn't put out any videos or any such pictures to show.
They had to tell us to make these videos to be able to participate in this subcontest.
Exactly, like the dance videos. So now when I'm judging, it's like I already see their dance video. I already see their beauty with the purpose of what they're doing and all of that, and I see them talk and everything. So they have already put out all the videos because they have been doing that. They know how to work with the camera.
Right.
They know how to showcase themselves. So they know all of it already now. So like you can see every girl trying to be their best version on social media, on
and Instagram.
Before even meeting them or having that conversation, I know who they are through that.
Right.
But yes, having said that, there still is a difference when you see them in person. Because what you show in reality cannot be the same that you show on Instagram.
Yes.
So yes, in pageantry,
it's not always it's not always the same.
It's not always the same. Like when you talk to somebody, that's when you know who they really are. They can have all the kind of skills and talents that they do, but their personality speaks only when they talk and then they present themselves in person. So that definitely does change our perspective a bit. But yes, social media boom definitely has changed the whole game. And nowadays, a lot of people don't come for pageants just for fame. Like earlier, people would think that this is going to make us famous and get us into the industry and all of that. But nowadays, you also have different
You can
ways.
jump that step.
Yeah, you can jump that step and go.
Or people choose to,
But yes, you definitely go via pageants if you want to have a voice and if you want to have that legacy and if you want to be a part of that.
That sort of
Miss India girls.
Miss India girls. Yeah, I think it's been a privilege for us as well.
And to represent a country internationally.
Yeah.
That just changes the whole game. Like it just the level of experience that gives you.
Absolutely.
I don't think anything is to have so many friends in every single country, like have 70 or 100 countries competing together. That's a different level of competition.
Right.
So that does add a lot of value for sure.
Right.
But yes, social media there also
is the same.
It has changed. It has changed. Pageantry has changed. But obviously with time we have to get used to it.
Move the same way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Okay, so is there anything about the journey that changed you? About the whole Miss India journey? Or even after?
Yeah, I don't remember that, I mean, I do know that I was always very confident as a person. But after the Miss India journey, I realized that I don't have to compare myself to anyone. So, I mean, you're also young, so I don't blame myself, but you do end up comparing and you do end up questioning that,
okay, why wasn't I selected for this, for a shoot or whatever? Why wasn't I selected, or what's missing in me? But I think after the pageant, after winning, because there were 30 girls in our pageant who were so beautiful, everybody was the best at what they're doing. And I can say this so easy that all of the girls are everyone's doing so well these days.
Yeah.
Every single girl is doing so well. So when you win that, you realize that, beauty is so subjective. Like, everything is so subjective in such a competition. So never question yourself, never question your worth.
Right.
Like, if you're not being selected somewhere, it's fine. Like, they probably needed somebody else at that time.
Yeah.
And you are meant for something else. So it's absolutely fine. So that did change in me, that it got me a confidence that even like rejection didn't really matter
as
anymore.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
At all.
Like, it's not really rejection, it's just like a redirection.
Nice. Tell me you prepared that.
No, I
didn't. That's nice. That's nice. That's good.
So, yeah, what do you think changed in you?
Again, I think, not as my innate self, really nothing changed, because I was the same before, during and after, but it did make me more responsible of myself, because I know I was a very carefree person before that, but once you get in the pageant, you are responsible for yourself, and you are, like competing for yourself, and you have to, come, like wake up on time and get there, take care of your stuff, just, like, I think it changed me in a way where it did make me a bit more responsible. So anyway, coming back to the point, I think when we entered the pageant, we were all girls, but we did leave as women, because there it was like a 40-day pageant, but we felt like we had lived like a lifetime sort of over there. And I think it definitely made me more responsible, like I said, but also a bit like more aware of the realities of life. Like, okay, there are so many things, like you said, rejection didn't matter so much anymore, like something like that.
I feel like 100% like the confidence that it brings in you and to present yourself. This actually reminds me of a story that, in pageants, what happens is, even though you are very confident, I was very confident, and I feel you also were very confident of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we were reasonably confident of ourselves.
I was very
confident. Very confident of ourselves. And we I don't think ever let any rumor or anything affect us personally. It never affected me in any way.
Yeah.
But I do remember it having a huge effect on so many girls.
Yeah.
There was this one incident where it was, I think, at the launch party, or the first, I think, incident where we all were getting our hair and makeup done, and we were getting launched, like introduced. And one girl said that there's a whole makeup team, and then she thought that the girls whose names are written on the makeup artists' makeup team's heads
list
table
are
the ones who are the important girls.
Yeah, or the ones who are going to win it.
Yeah. I mean, my name clearly wasn't there. So
mine wasn't either. Yeah.
What she was thinking in her head. And she thought this, and she started crying about it. The girls asked her, one by one, everybody got upset about it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody started crying. It came like a domino effect.
Yeah.
The whole environment changed. Everybody started thinking that it's being rigged, and all of this is happening.
Yeah.
And there was just so much chaos and everybody's mind.
Because what? Not just that incident. I think there were always like these voices from the outside that would always tell you that it is going to be decided earlier, and I don't know, like we didn't see it happening or anything like in front of us, but you hear these things, and I think that's what started happening by the end of the competition. People were talking, and that jibber jabber kind of gets to like most of the people. And I think that's where psychologically plays on
what
you.
Do to yourself, like all of those, everybody, most of the girls are very insecure.
Yeah.
So when anything like that enters their head, they're like, oh my god, is it really going to be like this? Was this all a lie? But it's not the case. And I don't know, after that incident, like after the party, every girl was like, now I have to prove myself. Now I have to show myself. Let me show my true personality.
Yeah.
Let me just show what to do. So we both standing in the corner at the party are just observing things unfold.
Yeah, things unfold. People networking harder than the others.
So I mean, at the party, like everybody's just trying to show that okay, we are better than the other. We are like like.
That sort of competitiveness had like creeped in a group where there was none. Like, I mean, not competitiveness. There was no sort of like negative feelings, but it had kind of creeped in. But I think it tends to happen in a competition like this. It is a nationwide competition. Like, it's a national level competition, right? It's not just something small that you should not be like that you can take lightly. So yeah, that happened.
Next day, I remember I was messaging other guys. We need to be united. Like, we all love each other. I can sense the tension in the air. I can sense the competition.
The monitor personality.
I swear.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, why is the tension? Why are we all not playing in, like chit chatting like we used to? Like, we can see the tension everywhere. So let's just bring everyone together.
Yeah.
But that, I think, was something that all of us had in ourselves. Like, all the 30 girls did want, for all of us to be together all the time. That's why in our batch there wasn't any negativity as such.
Right.
It was mostly very positive and healthy.
Yeah.
But yes, the competition does come. You do get insecure. You do start thinking so much, and then.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I don't know why, everybody thought I was like the poster girl for tell me your problem. And like people would come up to me and like, it would become like, and you also take that negative energy, right? When people tell you your problems, you're also taking. So I would always be like, telling people, oh, it's going to be fine. That's not happening, like clear your head. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't mind it, but it does take a toll on everyone. So yeah, that happened. It was quite a journey. Yes. Anything you would have done different?
Anything I would have done different in the pageant? I was going to say not get upset after the subcontest night, but that's very natural to get upset after such a subcontest. I mean,
Didn't your roommate tell you to be with her the whole night because she had won 2 subcontests or something and you had won none?
Yeah. I mean, she was okay, yeah. So it was actually shocking for me. So I had done my research and saw that all the ex-winners who have won the pageant have all won some sub-contest. And I was like, chal, theek hai, sahi hai, mera sab mein kuch na kuch to top 2, top 3, top 5, kuch na kuch aaya, so I will 100% win. On the sub-contest night, I didn't win any sub-contest. And I was really disappointed. I was like, yaar, half the pageant is left. Now let's have fun. But like that day, I remember I was like, dude, there's a possibility that I'm not going to win it because I didn't win a sub-contest, because none of the previous girls have won it. So maybe I'm not going to win. And I was really, really low. And I remember my roommate who was there in that hotel, she had won 2 sub-contests. So she was really happy and she was speaking to her family and everything on call, or whoever she was speaking to. She was very excited about that. And I was like, yaar, chal, we've all like taken off our makeup, we're going to sleep. So I was like, I wanted my space. And I was like, let me just, if she's talking to her family, let me go out of the room, sit in the lobby and speak to my parents or like friends or whatever. I'll just step out for a little bit. So I told her that, listen, I'm just going to go out. So she said, please Shreya, wait a second. Why are you going? Where are you going? Like, I just need to be on a call. Like, yaar, yahi kar le. I don't feel okay being alone right now.
Like, dude, you're not the one who needs
I want to be alone right now. I mean, okay, you're nice, you're whatever. Congratulations for winning, but give me one night to just like let it sink in that I might not win. And I'm like, dude, I have to. I'm sorry. I need to get on this because I just left. I'm like, dude, ye kya reason hai? But whatever. So
I think everyone's, because pageants like very young girls also.
Very young. She was also young. Yeah.
I think
she didn't want to sleep alone. She was like, I don't want to sleep alone. I'll get scared. मैं कि यार अभी मैं ये नहीं संभाल सकती.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna go talk to my parents.
Yeah, let me like be okay about it.
Yeah.
So what was I saying about sub-contest? Yeah, something.
Yeah, but even though you didn't win a sub-contest, you did end up getting one of the top spots. So
that was actually pretty cool. So I was like, you don't really have to have that blockage in your head.
It's good to have had won a sub-contest because, but that doesn't mean that that entirely defines you.
Exactly. That doesn't mean. So I remember them telling me after the winning, like, it's fine. You can always be, what do they say? Jack of all trades and master of none. So it's fine to be jack of all trades also, because I was in the top in many subcontests.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. That means you have a lot of skills and maybe one
person was slightly better than you.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, in that pageant, in that particular time, somebody was better. So that does not mean that you won't win it.
Right.
Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it is something definitely people, can take with them. Whoever, like if you've not won a subcontest, it's fine. You're still on that journey.
Yeah.
So now that reminds me that you did go for Miss United Continents in 2019.
Yeah.
What was your experience in that like? Because now that's a different pageant altogether.
True.
And that's a different journey altogether. So what was like that experience like?
So starting with, I do remember, because all my plans were for Miss World, and then you're thinking of Miss World completely. You're thinking of your purpose, your cause, and all of that. So, Miss World works for people, and it's working towards uplifting like children, and that's their main focus. And Miss United Continents, on the other hand, not the other hand actually, Miss United Continents is more about uniting countries and continents. Like their thing is that the whole world was one island. So now they've divided into 5 different continents. But we, the ambassadors who win Miss United Continent, bring them all together by social work and everything combined. So the whole pageant is it's slightly different because it's much larger in scale, in your purpose, I would say. So at that time, so suddenly to shift that whole thing and start thinking about Miss United Continents, it did take me a little bit of time, because when you're dreaming about something and then you're like, okay, fine, now you have to go for this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fine, I will. Okay, I'll try. Okay. But
of course, I'm sure you did with the same zeal that you would have done Miss World. But it's just that you have to accept that there is a switch that you have to make, like, because you probably thought of yourself somewhere else, but okay, now you're gonna get up and do this.
100%. Yeah, that's also a huge platform. I had the best time at the pageant. The process before that, I think 2-3 months, like some rigorous training. I think that was the best thing. One thing I loved after winning was I had a fashion director and a stylist to curate my entire style
that's
file.
Fun.
That was the best feeling. I still have that huge file of Miss United Continents of every single look. Like, they literally curated my outfit with boots, with accessories, and all of that. And they made like, I had full A4 size pictures and the full file. And yes, for that, I did have to try all the clothes. I don't know, 200 odd clothes or something, maybe 2 to 3 times on repeat. I remember in the house, they used to have these hanger racks kept, and ek din baith ke main sirf kapde pehen rahi hu.
My God.
That's my work the whole day.
Beauty is tough, huh?
It is tough. And especially when you're representing your country.
Yeah.
So you're trying to give that the candidate wears the best designer wear that we can provide from our country. And India, for sure, is outstanding in styling. In the pageant, in the national pageant, I did feel that our clothes were stark apart. Like we had so much variety. Obviously, because Indians do have a lot of variety in their style.
I think we have a lot of fashion, just style, and just like accessories built.
Yes, the
like
jewelry,
like it just plays such a huge part in our general dressing in India.
So to wear all those designer wears, to wear Tarun Tilhani, Rimple and Harpreet and all of those, and take Gauri Nanika and all that, I was like, this is like a dream. Like I carry 12 suitcases.
That's crazy. I know, like, all the Miss Indies like carry all these huge suitcases.
Because in one suitcase, I only had my one introduction lehenga, Rimple and Harpreet.
Just the one?
Just the one lehenga.
How could only one fit into the bag?
Because it was so heavy.
Was it a small bag?
No, it had the bukham and the can and all of that. And pura came in one. And I remember while coming back, I was stopped at the security gate because they wanted to smell and check कि लहंगे में ऐसा क्या है. So I was like, please sir, मैं Miss India pageant के लिए गई थी, मैं कुछ लेके नहीं जा रही हूँ. Please don't check like.
Oh no, they have these stories. Anyway.
But that I feel was a huge learning, because after that I feel like I've been curating every single look, even for a coffee.
Oh my God, remember you were going to go for like you were going to go out of the country and travel or whatever, and I had already recently come back from it.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, look at my notes app, and there were these like look one, like, or day one, look one, morning, wearing a green dress and with like that some white shoes and like I'm gonna make a bun, you know. And then it was look two for the evening, going for dinner, wearing another black long dress or something. So you know, like that is
And
also
that
become
we have options of if you're going outside or inside.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna go out or stay in. Yeah. So
I have it on my notebook written.
yeah, so like we, I think also became like super organized after all of this.
It was beautiful. It was an amazing experience. It was Spanish based. I did get a training of Spanish. I learned Spanish in the span of 3 months.
Right.
I like there was this training that we got was very specific. We got a makeup training, like professional makeup training, hair training, like different hairstyles by yourself quickly.
Yeah.
And then I learned this language. I learned my introduction and like basic how to speak in Spanish. And the pageant was beautiful over there. Everybody would help, and they were really amazed by the fact that I learned a little bit of Spanish. So I could converse a little.
Yeah.
Like they would always say, "Oh, India, quick saying, no, beef for India. No, not this for India." Like, okay, they were always scared for you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was just a beautiful place.
Like,
yeah, we did not understand so many languages, and I remember the last day we all were just sitting and crying. I was listening to two girls talk, a Brazilian girl and I think a Colombian girl. They both were talking, and in a different language, and all of us were sitting.
Must be talking in Spanish.
They were talking in Spanish, and I started crying because I could feel what they were saying. So I was like, dude, now I understand why they say love has no language, because we all got so connected in that pageant, and I think it was just a beautiful experience for me.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah,
that's
wonderful. Was beautiful for sure. So it does change you, and those experiences does bring out a different side of you, and it does teach you, make you a woman.
Yeah, make you a woman. I know, like, because they are like very significant like things that have happened, and of course there's gonna be a bit of a change. So but that's lovely that you had like this beautiful pageant journey. I think just the whole thing for you has been like positive as well. But was there anything like you struggled with or anything like that?
Yeah, like I was telling you. So during the pageant, how it all gets very hectic. So I remember I had 3 months before going for the international pageant, and I started, because of the stress, I started getting these acne on my forehead and all that, and the whole team got stressed. I realized that, dude, okay, my one pimple is stressing out 8 people.
Wow. Shit, that's crazy.
And then that was more stressful for me.
Yeah.
Like, dude, oh my god, so everybody's checking on my diet. They're like, okay, what is she eating? What is she having? Send me pictures of what you're eating right now. And all of that. I was like, dude, this is like, it felt like a national emergency happening over a pimple.
Oh my god.
Like, this is too much for me. And I never realized, because we were working out, I was doing Pilates and gym to get into the right shape. I was already very skinny, and I think the stress and all made me more malnourished more than like adding weight to it. But you don't realize when you're doing so much that it takes a toll on your body and your skin.
Absolutely.
I started having acne. They tried to help me out by sending me to the derma, and I started taking medicines. And then what you don't realize is that the medicines, acne medicines, take a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
They take a certain amount of time. So I remember having isotretinoin, which ended up flaring up my skin much more. And that is definitely the right course. I mean, definitely only recommended by dermat. But taking that medicine did bring out all the acne that had to come, and because it's a slow process, it has to come out, and then it goes away. But I did not have time. So when it all started coming out, I started getting more stressed. And they were like, okay, I think we need to get something done. We need to, fix your face and all of that. So after a point, after 15, 16, 20, 1 month almost of getting, slowly my acne just kept increasing. I have pictures of my face, and I'm feeling sad. I'm sending my pictures to my national director, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I don't know like what to do with it. There's so much acne. So they're also like, okay, maybe go to this doctor or maybe go to this dermat. And then I had to step back, and I was like, dude, I don't think fixing it by going to so many dermats is going to help me anyway. Medicines. I think I need, because this has never happened to me before.
Yeah.
It definitely has. There are multiple reasons. There's stress, the food that has changed, everything. So there are multiple reasons. I need to forget all the medicines. I need to leave everything. And then I need to sit back, let my skin breathe, and then let it go away. So I did, after giving a good amount of break, I did then go to another dermat, not the ones that I'd been going to, another dermat that they recommended, and then she gave me a basic. I said, I do not want anything extreme.
Right.
Nothing extreme. No extreme medicine, nothing. It's just acne. I want to let it heal properly. Even if it doesn't, makeup will fix it. Now I don't want to have that stress over my head.
Right.
I remember that whole thing changed something in me. Till then, I had always been the one to listen to everyone when they're guiding me. And
I did see that change in you as well later. Like from I've known you since college. To then after the pageant, there was some change, you know,
So,
like.
And in that moment when I realized that, okay, you know what, I need to take charge and make sure that I know what's going wrong. So I need to now stand up and say, ki, bus.
Yeah.
Now let me figure it out.
Yeah.
Let me hold on for some time. Let me see. And then slowly my acne did go away. Till the pageant, I did listen to that dermat. Of course, listen to dermats. Don't just do anything by yourself.
Of course, yeah.
Please don't
no
do
self-medication.
No. After the pageant also, I did get acne, but then now I knew how to tackle with it. And now, thank God.
And also after the pageant, it was not a very stressful situation. That's just life, which is okay.
It's not to do with stress.
It's
that age where you get acne also.
Maybe, yeah.
So a lot of people think that, Miss India's and all that, when you go, your skin is so clear and beautiful. But I did have a massive and major acne story. There's so much that happens behind that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And then after the pageant, when you're all relaxed, you're like, okay, now,
I can breathe.
Yeah.
But then it goes like, now what do I do?
That's what, after the pageant, that's what happened. I'm like, ab to ho gaya, ab jeet gaye, ab international pageant ho gaya. I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing you doing anchoring, sports anchoring, and like I kept thinking, dude, this is something that I would have loved to do, and I never even thought that this is something we could do. I always wanted to know that how did you go about it? How did you even get there?
I mean, so remember we talked about the contract?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was with the talent agency, right? So I think they probably got me an audition with Star Sports. And I started I gave an audition for the first time for the football league, like the Indian Super League, and as a reporter initially. And I gave one audition, and then I came for another one, and there were about like 6 to 7 auditions, and they were, we were also doing like certain sessions in the studio, we also did some simulations of like being on ground doing this and talking to the players and all. So it was a difficult process because you need to have that sort of first of all, like you have to have that research of like what you're doing, what how you can prepare for it. So yeah, that was like a long process, and then I got the gig, and I actually did it for like 4 years. Yeah. And so it was pretty cool. And in fact, the most challenging part was it was all live. It was live TV. And the thing is, yes, we've been on stage and we've done some questions, but those we prepare for, right? These are situations that are happening like right in front of you. So I think that was something that I learned and was like very shocking for me as well, that there's a lot that goes into it. And there are people in your ear as well. Because, you need to know, okay, the TV has come on now, it's time for you to talk. So someone has to tell you. So it is a very chaotic environment, but I have so much respect for all the commentators, all the presenters, reporters, anchor, because it is super hard to be, managing so many things. Like, okay, someone's talking to you, but someone else is also like telling you, okay, go now, not go now, and all of these things. So yeah, like it takes like a huge skill. I'm not saying like, oh, I am very skillful, but like it did take that, a lot of effort and like hard work to kind of get that. And yeah, like I have a lot of respect for, a lot of anchors, and yeah, it's pretty tough.
I mean, you could easily, did you have any moment where you're like, okay, I don't know what to do
I mean,
now?
there was this one time where like, I was going to ask a question, and like I went into my head or something, and I like froze for like a second. But even like a second feels like a minute, like I just like and then I was like, like we said that you could have bring it back and kind of do something like that. So that's what I did. But but that kind of gets to you as well, because you are analyzing yourself and criticizing yourself. But the only way to beat that or not let that happen is actually go back and watch yourself and critique yourself, but fix it. Right? Like, even when we talk about pageants and stuff, we're like, okay, if you can't do a pageant coaching or whatever, you could have walk in front of a camera and try to train yourself, walk in front of a mirror, walk in front of a camera, watch yourself back, and train yourself, watch YouTube videos, train yourself, and like, when you talk to the camera, answer questions. What kind of questions are there? It's on the internet, right? Answer those questions and look at yourself and see what you're doing. Because if you're watching all of these girls who've been there, like winners in the past, you are also watching yourself, and you can tell the difference, and you can try to mold it your way.
100%. Like, I do feel that it's very important, your own personal preparation before anything. Like you said, that for even anchoring, like you prepare so much. It is live. It definitely is live.
Yes. And there is no chance for a mistake. Like, there is no room for error.
Exactly.
It just goes.
The same way in pageantry also, I feel like when you're on stage, like there's no chance. Even when you're off stage, everybody's still watching you. You're still like interacting with people. So there is no room for error.
Yeah.
So, in order to be fully prepared, I feel like you being in sync with what you stand for and what your likes and dislikes are, and what you want to showcase about yourself. I think if those things are very set and clear, then you wouldn't ever.
The journey becomes easy.
Yeah, it becomes that easy. You can easily practice by looking at yourself in the mirror, by recording yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't like what you're seeing, then
why would anyone else like it?
Exactly. So work on yourself, work on showcasing yourself in the best way possible, and your true, real personality.
Yeah.
We all try to be Sushmita and Lara, but
I mean, you have to have an idol, right? You have to have a standard or something that can inspire you, and only then that's where it all starts, that inspiration.
100%. That is them, but you also have to realize that they are themselves.
Yeah.
So you don't have to copy them or be them, but be yourself and show that personality and show that confidence.
Yeah.
That only comes when you know yourself completely and you show your true self. If, for example, if you're in a situation and somebody's asking you a question about something, like you said, it's not the most intelligent pageant.
Yeah.
So if you don't know something about a particular topic, you're 18, you're 22, you can't know everything that's happening around in the world.
Yeah.
So if you don't know about a particular topic, you can be confident and say that, okay, I apologize, I am not aware of this topic in particular, but I would definitely want to give you my opinion once I brush up on it.
Right.
So at least they know that, okay, this girl's confident.
Yeah.
She's being honest and she's being real, and she wants to give her opinion when she gets to know about it. So that is what they like, instead of you trying to make an answer.
Yeah.
So
or talk about something you do know. Talk about something you do know. If that's the exact topic you don't know about, but you can obviously draw relevance from some other topic and try to justify that.
Yeah, easily, but just
but it comes with again you reading, rehearsing, practicing. Yeah.
Knowing what are your likes and dislikes and what you stand for truly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those were our
Yeah.
I know, and you know what? We didn't really mention it initially, but it's been about 6 years since the pageant, so it has been a very long time.
Yeah. It's easier to talk about it right now, but at that time you're like, everybody's telling you, be yourself, and everybody very confused.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah, but it is in that situation.
Yeah.
It gets to you, and but it's not impossible to have it figured out.
Have that experience, get that experience, have fun, and when you get after 6 years, you'll also be laughing at it and
Right. So that was our journey from the FBB Colors Femina Miss India 2019 badge. We love doing that. Yeah, and we've shared a lot of tips and tricks in this episode, but we would love to help out more, and if you have any more questions, you can always message us and we'll be happy to answer.
100%. We have so many stories, so many experiences, and I feel like since how we've learned from experiences, I'm sure everybody else can also.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. I feel like that, this whole pageant journey got us where we are today.
Yes.
And doing what we are doing in our fields, we've done so much after that, and pageantry did get us here, so we owe it to that. And there's so much that we've done. There's so many experiences.
Yes,
We don't know how to end it, so
end.